Up next, the WHL Show with Gabriel Neumann.
Hi, welcome back to the WHL Show. My name is Gabe Neumann, and today I'm bringing on two very special guests. Both are going to be from the Everett Silvertips, and you guys will hear from them right after I do a quick recap of the WHL. Decided to keep that in this episode as we have playoffs coming up, and so I wanted to at least stay up to date on all of the playoff information and all the news that we got of the teams who have clinched and the standings and players to look out for and things the like. So we're going to do a quick recap, and then after that, we will go ahead and bring on Raphael Pelletier and Jackson Berezowski from the Everett Silvertips. Again, I'm very excited for you guys to hear everything they had to say. They were incredible and really great. So, yeah. So to start us off, we're going to just go through what we usually do. We start with players and goaltenders of the week. So we're going to start with that. This week's player of the week is actually going to be Winnipeg Ice forward Zach Benson, who had an incredible 13 points. It was 5 goals, 8 assists in just 4 games played. Little bit about him. He is ranked 7th among North American skaters by NHL Central Scouting at the moment. He was originally selected by the Winnipeg Ice with the 14th overall pick in the 2020 WHL draft. In 136 games that he's played in the WHL regular season games, he has totaled 175 points with 68 goals and 107 assists. So this week specifically, he started off Monday, February 20th by scoring a shorthanded goal and added an assist as well, as Winnipeg beat the Swift Current Broncos 4-2. 2 days later, he scored the game's opening goal and then added 3 assists against the Calgary Hitmen. That was in a win over the Hitmen 5-2. On Friday, February 24th, Benson earned first star honors in a 2-1 victory over the Red Deer Rebels. He had an assist on his line mate Matthew Savoy's game-winning goal. He also he capped off his impressive week by setting a career high with 6 points in one game. It was an 8-1 win over the Edmonton Oil Kings, and that was on Sunday, February 26th. And he now has his third hat trick of the 2022-2023 season. He begins this week ranked second among WHL skaters, which we will talk about more as we go into points and such. But he's in second in assists right now with 59 and points as well, 92, and shorthanded goals with 6. We will talk more about those rankings once we get to that little segment. But that's it for Zach Benson. He and the Winnipeg Ice's next game is actually tonight on the 28th, Tuesday. They have they're concluding their 2-game road trip series against the Edmonton Oil Kings. It was actually this morning. Never mind. It already happened. Great job to Zach Benson. So congrats to him. Now for our goaltenders of the week. And you heard me right. Goaltenders, there's an S in there. We have 2 this week, and actually both are from the same team, the Seattle Thunderbirds. So Thomas Milic and Scott Ratzlaff are the goalies of the week. We have 2. The last time I think this happened was, I think, early 2022 with the Victoria Royals. But this year is our first duo, to my knowledge. And yeah, very excited. So basically, they both, for Thomas Milic, he had 2 games played. He had a .50 goals against average and a .982 save percentage. So one of those games he had a shutout. And then Scott Ratzlaff, same here, 2 games played, a .50 goals against average and a .973 save percentage. So absolutely dazzling numbers for sure. So they were both ranked by NHL Central Scouting ahead of the 2023 NHL draft. They helped Seattle win all 4 of their games over the past week and only surrendered a combined 2 goals in those 4 games. Milic was originally selected by the Thunderbirds in the 3rd round of the 2018 WHL draft, and right now he has a career 55, 23, 3-2 record with 2.39 goals against average, a .91 save percentage, and 7 shutouts across 85 WHL games. Now, Ratzlaff was originally selected by Seattle in the 2nd round of the 2020 WHL draft. Over his 53 games played, he has a career 39-8-1-1 record, a 2.24 goals against average, .914 save percentage, and 6 shutouts. So for Milic, he had a 26 save shutout performance in his first game of the week. That was on Monday, February 20th, as the Thunderbirds beat the Victoria Royals 7-0. He then made 29 saves and a 4-1 win over the Portland Winterhawks on Saturday, February 25th, and got second star honors that game. Ratzlaff he stopped all 21 shots he faced on Tuesday, February 21st, and that was in an 8-0 win over the Victoria Royals. He also then turned aside 15 out of 16 shots against the Tri-City Americans on Friday, and that was a 6-1 win over the Americans. He also begins the week leading all WHL goaltenders with a 2.03 goals against average. Again, we'll talk more about those rankings soon as we get up to those. And while Milic right now is third in save percentage, or sorry, not save percentage. I keep doing that. In goals against average, he's third in goals against average with a mark of 2.14 this season. So right now, the pair have a combined 8 shutouts this season, with Ratzlaff's 5 standing as the best among WHL goaltenders. Milic and Ratzlaff also boast save percentages of .924 and .923, respectively. Good for second and third place in the WHL. I can read, I promise. So the next game for the Thunderbirds and either Milic or Ratzlaff will be on Friday, March 3rd, when they visit the Tri-City Americans, and that is at 7 on Friday, 7 Pacific time. Woo! Okay, cool. Now, points leaders, as I've been kind of hinting at up until this point. So, in points, we have, of course, Connor Bedard in first with 114 points. Last week, he was also in first with 105. And second is Zach Benson, who we were talking about earlier with the player of the week. He has 93 points. Last week, he was also in second with 81. In goals, Connor Bedard is in first with 54. Last week, he was in first as well with 51. In assists, Connor Bedard has 60. He's in first, of course. Last week, he was actually tied for first with Ben Zloty. They both had 54. And Zloty plays for the Winnipeg Ice, by the way. Now, second for assists this week is Zach Benson of Winnipeg Ice with 59 assists. Last week, he was also tied. He was tied with Logan Stankoven of the Kamloops Blazers with 52. Goals against average for our goaltenders. This week, it is Scott Ratzlaff, as we were talking about earlier. He has a 2.03 goals against average. Austin Elliott of the Saskatoon Blades was the first place last week with a 1.97 goals against average. This week, Elliott is in second place with a 2.11 goals against average, and Ratzlaff last week was in second place with 2.15. So save percentage is also interesting because it is still Connor Unger from the Moose Jaw Warriors with a .925 save percentage. And as I talked about briefly last week, we still don't have any update with what's going on in Moose Jaw with the 4 players who are suspended indefinitely and the investigation that's happening there. Still waiting to hear word. Unger was one of those players, and so obviously he has not been playing games, and so that's why his save percentage has remained the same. But he still is in first, so... and then second place is Thomas Milic of the Seattle Thunderbirds with a .924 save percentage, just right behind him. And last week he was also in second, but he had a .922 at that point. Now for our standings. This time I actually wrote down a comprehensive list of who has clinched playoffs. And so that way we are actually able to see who. So we have the Winnipeg Ice, Saskatoon Blades, Red Deer Rebels, Seattle Thunderbirds, Portland Winterhawks, Everett Silvertips, Tri-City Americans, Kamloops Blazers, and the Prince George Cougars. Those are all the teams. I think it's 9. I think those are the 9 teams that have clinched playoffs so far. And of course, we have a bunch of other teams on the cusp of clinching. And so, yeah, we had a lot more teams finally clinch playoffs over the past week. So those are the ones that are definitely headed to postseason. So that's great. So for standings, it was the same as last week for East Division, which is Winnipeg in first, Saskatoon in second, Moose Jaw in third. In Central Division, we did get one little switch. Last week, it was Red Deer, Lethbridge, Calgary. This week, it's first place Red Deer, second place Lethbridge, third grade Medicine Hat. So the Medicine Hat Tigers are third in the Central Division. In the U.S. Division, we had also a switch. So last week it was Seattle, then Portland, then Tri-City. This week it's Seattle, then Portland, then Everett. So Everett is now third. They are tied with Tri-City in points with 61. But because Everett has played one fewer game than the Americans, they are a rank ahead of them in the standings. So Everett is in third place this week for the U.S. division. For the BC division, it's the same as last week with first place Kamloops, second Prince George. Whoa, sorry. That was great. Second Prince George, and third place Vancouver. The Eastern Conference so now for the conferences, it's the same. Both are the same as last week. Winnipeg, Red Deer, Saskatoon for Eastern. And then for Western, it's the same as last week. Seattle, Kamloops, then Portland. Overall, that we did have a little bit of a difference there. Last week, it was Winnipeg in first, Seattle in second, and then we had a tie for third with 3 teams tying. It was Red Deer, Saskatoon, and Kamloops. This week, it is Winnipeg in first, Red Deer in second, and the Seattle Thunderbirds in third. Woo! Cool. So we're done with that. Now we have the CHL top 10, and then we'll bring on our guests. So for the CHL top 10, we had 4 teams listed this week. 3 of them were actually in the top 10. One of them is an honorable mention. So we had the Winnipeg Ice in first with a 47-7-1-0 record. The Seattle Thunderbirds are in second with a 45-9-1-1 record. The Kamloops Blazers are 8th with a 38-11-4-2 record. And then the honorable mention this week are the Saskatoon Blades with a 38-13-4-1 record. So for about the Winnipeg Ice, right now they are the top-ranked team, as we were talking about. After a perfect week, they went 3-0-0. They had a 5-2 win on Wednesday over the Calgary Hitmen. Notable names for that game would be Connor McLennan and Matthew Savoy, who each scored 2 goals that game. On Friday, they had a 2-1 win over Red Deer Rebels. Notable name on that one again is Matt Savoy, who scored the game winner that one. Then on Sunday, it was an 8-1 win over the Edmonton Oil Kings. Notable name, of course, is Zach Benson. Because of course that game, he had a 6 points with 3 goals, 3 assists. And right now, the Winnipeg Ice have the most wins in the CHL with 47. The Seattle Thunderbirds are in the second spot for the first time since week 14. They had a trio of wins that took their winning streak to 10 games won. They had an 8-0 win over the Victoria Royals, like we were talking about with the goaltenders. So notable name, besides the goaltenders that we were discussing earlier, Niko Majatovic, who got his first career hat trick. The Thunderbirds had a 6-1 win over the Tri-City Americans, who had a notable name for that was Reed Schaefer, who had 4 points, 2 goals, and 2 assists in that game. And then a 4-1 win over Portland, giving them their 45th win. And right now, with that 45th win, they are tied for second most wins in the CHL. For the Kamloops Blazers, they went again, and they're in 8th place in the top 10. They went 2-1-0 last week. They had a 6-3 win over the Swift Current Broncos on Wednesday. Notable names include Ryan Hofer and Connor Levis, who scored twice that game, my bad. The Blazers had a 6-2 win over the Lethbridge Hurricanes on Friday. Notable name being Logan Stankoven, who had 3 points, 1 goal, and 2 assists. And then in their third game, they had a 7-3 loss against the Medicine Hat Tigers on Saturday. Our honorable mention of this week was the Saskatoon Blades. They had a 5-0-1 streak. Right now, they are listed as the top team on the outside looking in. So right now they've collected 3 of 4 possible points over the weekend. Both of these games were against the Prince Albert Raiders. They had a 6-5 overtime loss against Prince Albert on Friday. And then on Saturday, they had a 3-1 win over that team. Wins right now are tied third most in the WHL with 38. Woo! Recap done. Yay. So, hope you guys liked that. Let me know if you do like me doing recaps on episodes that I do have interviews, because I never know if I want to include those, because it does take up some time, but I really do like including that information. It feels necessary, at least, because this is the WHL show, right? Of course, we want to bring on guests, but I want to give you all the information that's going on in the league. So give me some feedback. I would like to hear what you guys prefer. Now, before I keep rambling on, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our guests. I do want to note that Raphael's interview was held last week before Silvertips clinched playoffs. So when he gives his message to Silvertips fans, that was obviously before the Silvertips clinched. And then Berezowski's was recent, so it's up to date. So yeah, just wanted to give that disclaimer. You guys are great. Thanks for tuning in. And we're going to go ahead and hand it off to Raph, and it'll be great. Hi, so welcome on. Joining me now, I have Everett Silvertips forward Raphael Pelletier. So welcome on, Raph. Super excited to have you here. First off, came to the Silvertips from the Swift Current Broncos, right? Early January. Tell me a bit about your time in Swift Current, and then talk to me about how the adjustment in Everett's going.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big change for me as a hockey player and for my just life in general. I spent, this would have been my 4th season with the Broncos, so yeah, that's a special place in my heart. Got a lot of memories there, a lot of great relationships. So it was an emotional day when the trade happened. But no, being here in Everett, I have nothing good to or nothing bad to say about the place and the team. Like, the guys have made me feel so comfortable, and yeah, just the coaching staff has been great to me, and being settled in with the new Billet family here.
Yeah,
it's been a great change overall.
I bet. And yeah, I bet it's been getting that news after being with the Broncos for so long. I bet that was a tough adjustment, but we're glad to have you here. And
thank you.
Not necessarily the team, but which conference do you think is more fun to play in, the Western or the Eastern?
Oh man, they're both fun. I don't.
Yeah.
Western's fun too. It's a lot of different styles of play, but
yeah,
honestly, just seeing different parts of being in the States for the first time, it's been pretty cool. Because I've never been over here, so it's been a great experience so far. Just experiencing the whole dub. So it's
cool. That's cool. Yeah. So right now, talking about the Silvertips, they're in 5th in the Western Conference right now. Chance to clinch playoffs within the next week or so. Talk to me a bit about that. What are you and the team focusing on right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in the back of our minds. Clinching is obviously our goal of ours.
Yeah.
In any team, so to do it early late in the season, it's always nice. But I feel like not focusing on that too much. Just playing. It's just another game, and I think if we just follow what we're doing in our game plan from the coaches, I think good things will come with that. So.
Yeah, love that. Now, with it being your 20-year-old year, and you mentioned 4th year almost all the way through with the Broncos, being the last year in the WHL, unfortunately, tell me a bit how that's affected the last season that you've been going. What's your mindset?
Yeah, it's crazy. You think when you're 16, 17, it's a long ways away. Right. But then when you get there and being in the shoes where I am, it's like, holy man, it flies by. But I feel like the main thing that I've taken from being a 20 now is just being present in the moment, because I know I'll be looking back on these days and knowing that these are going to be like the best days of hockey right now. So it's just being present at the rink, coming with a good attitude, and just having the most fun I can right now. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, looking past, once the season's over, what are your plans? What do you've got going on after the season's done?
Yeah, it's definitely something you have to think about as a 20. Obviously, with the scholarship program the WHL offers is definitely something that I will use going to school. Not sure what university at the moment, but hopefully something comes along the way, and who knows, maybe some kind of offer comes my way, or you never know. So just kind of taking it day by day, weighing the pros and cons right now. So yeah.
Absolutely. What if you were going into college? What do you think you'd study? What's your major?
Yeah, I've been kind of flip-flopping between kind of education. And some kind of science. Not sure. Yeah, kind of working with. I don't know, working with people, working with kids. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. That's awesome. Now, for more on the hockey side, describe your game for Silvertips or just hockey fans. Tell us a little bit about what kind of player you are.
Definitely. I feel like I bring a lot of speed. I feel like that's my game, skating. just skating with the puck. I feel like I'm going to play a 200-foot game, take pride in the defense and playing offensive.
Mhm.
And I also feel like I bring a good morale to the team also on the bench, being a leader wherever I can. So it's, wherever I
Right,
can
because you had
help out.
an A with the Broncos, right? Am I
Yeah.
remembering that correctly? Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
I did.
Yeah, bringing over that leadership to the Silvertips, good to
Yeah.
see. Going back to when you were just getting into hockey, what got you into the sport and how old were you?
Yeah, I feel like I got to give credit to my dad. He grew up playing hockey and I guess just kind of ran in the family. I was pretty young when I first started skating. I feel like
Yeah,
everyone was pretty young. I think I was maybe 3 or 4 when I
nice.
first started putting on the skates. And then, yeah, I fell in love with hockey, but I also loved playing other sports as well.
Yeah, which
But
one?
then it was, loved playing baseball.
Nice.
Was into school sports, badminton, volleyball. So yeah, but then obviously you have to make a commitment at a young
Mhm.
age if you're gonna play at a high level. So
Yeah,
made the commitment, and yeah, I don't regret that one bit. So
nice. Did you
yeah,
ever consider playing another position like defense or goalie, or is it always just goalie?
definitely not goalie. I love scoring goals, but
Yeah,
I think no, I just loved playing offense. So I think forward just stuck with me. So
perfect. Did you
yeah.
have a favorite NHL team growing up?
Yeah. When I was younger, I was a big Pittsburgh fan, and
Oh yeah.
then kind of switched over, obviously, to the Oilers. So
Sure.
I'm a hardcore Oiler fan.
Yeah. Was there, it doesn't have to be on the Oilers or Pittsburgh even, but is there
Yeah.
any NHL idol that you maybe modeled your play after or just really watched growing up?
Yeah, definitely Sidney Crosby for me. I
Hmm.
mean, he's one of the best in the world. It still is. So yeah, he was always when I was younger searching up his YouTube highlights and watching
Yeah,
those was pretty fun. So yeah, I think Sidney Crosby for me was the biggest guy.
absolutely. Now looking at the Tips roster, right? The Silver Tips,
Yeah.
who do you think is an underrated teammate that fans should keep an eye on towards going into playoffs or into the next season?
Mm, good question. I feel like I think Caden Zaplitney he's an
Yeah,
underrated player. He's a
100%.
great. Yeah, I feel like also Jesse Heslop as well.
Hmm.
Those two are very very skilled young players, which
Yeah.
I think rookies in the league. So I feel like they've got a lot of potential, and I feel like their teams will sleep on those guys. So yeah.
Gotcha, 100%. Kind of on the flip side of that, who's a teammate on the Silvertips who would least want to play against?
Ooh, good question. I feel like Austin Roost. He's
Oh yeah,
uh
good
he's
choice.
a very competitive guy. So
Hmm.
he, especially in practices, so great player. Just he works hard.
That's good.
Yeah,
Now coming into the Silvertips, getting to know the new roster and meeting the new guys. Who do you think you've been the closest to so far? Who have you been gravitating towards? And
yeah. I think for me, I love getting along with the younger rookies.
oh yeah,
And one guy that stands out is Matthew Paskowicz.
hmm,
We've kind of gelled and created that bond together, so
awesome.
which is nice. And I also
Yeah.
get along with a lot of the older guys like Berezowski, Sutter, Hemmerling. So
Mhm.
they're a good group of guys. So
Absolutely. Now, of course, last season with the Broncos up in Swift Current. Now,
yeah,
what advice would you give your last season self with the knowledge that you have now?
yeah. I feel like my advice would be not dwelling on the negatives too much.
Sure.
Obviously, it takes a toll on you, but being young and in a long season like that, I feel like I could have kind of looked at the positives more and not
Yeah.
holding myself down, and having that good attitude is so key too. Just
Yeah.
having that confidence and building yourself up. So I feel like just like I said, having a good attitude coming to the rink is pretty key.
Yeah. Absolutely. And looking at like this can be like within the whole league. It doesn't have to be Western or Eastern Conference. But what do you think is
Yeah.
the favorite or your favorite or the best team to play against? Who do you just really enjoy playing against?
Ooh, I mean, this year being with Everett, playing against Swift Current, like my old team,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
was pretty like a pretty cool moment for me
I
in my
bet.
career. So, but I don't even know. I think I'd just go with playing your old team is always fun. Playing your old
Oh, yeah.
buddies. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What rink do you think's the best to play in? Not necessarily the team or even
Yeah.
the fans, but like what rink do you like the layout of best?
Oh, that I'd have to say Rogers is pretty
Yeah,
surreal. Yeah, I
I
love
bet.
playing there. It's also like my hometown too, so
Yeah, sure.
it kind of adds that little plus. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I
yeah.
bet that's a lot of fun. What does an average game day look like for you? Like a home game? What are your like do you have any rituals or superstitions you got to follow? What's your routine?
Um, I'm a big nap guy, so I
Yeah.
need some sleep. I feel like that's
Mhm.
it's a part of the routine. Always listening to music on the way to the rink.
Yeah, what kind of
I
music do you
mean,
listen to?
honestly, I might listen to some country, kind of
Oh
some
yeah.
hip hop. You never know what I'm
Yeah,
feeling that
totally
day,
agree.
so we'll
Nice.
switch it up. Other than that, I'm not very superstitious.
Okay.
Obviously, taping sticks and whatever. There's a
Sure.
certain way to do that, but
Mhm.
yeah, pretty basic. Eat my pregame, have a nap, shower, and then off to the rink. So
Nice, nice.
yeah,
Are you a pregame coffee guy or do you stay away from coffee?
yeah, I stay away from coffees.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
sometimes
interesting,
I'll.
like
Yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, sometimes on like a day off, I'll have a coffee, but not
Mhm.
on game days.
Yeah, I find it interesting seeing the players who are like super rely on it. They're like, yeah, I have to have this coffee before my game
Yeah,
this,
I know.
that, and then the others who are like, yeah, no, not at all. I totally get
Yeah,
both perspectives. It's interesting to
yeah,
see. If
yeah.
you do get a coffee, what's your coffee order?
Oh, I think I just one cream, one sugar. I keep it pretty simple. Sometimes I'll
Nice.
just get a black coffee.
Mhm.
Depends where I'm at, but yeah, nothing
Yeah,
too sweet or sugary.
totally. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Um, and then looking at this, may be a broader question, but looking at
yeah.
your history and your career and everything, what would you say is your favorite or your best hockey memory?
Oh man. I feel like being drafted to the WHL was
Yeah.
stands out to me. It was a pretty cool moment to share with my friends and family. And looking back on it, it feels so long ago, but
Right. Yeah.
it's just a cool. I'm just like so grateful for that opportunity and just where
Yeah.
it's taken me. So I feel like yeah, that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, awesome. Now looking at the Broncos, okay. So for the Swift
Yeah,
Current Broncos, who do you think on that team has the best locker room music?
like compared to Everett
No, just
or
for just the whole rocker, and then we'll look at Everett's. But who do you think on their team, on your old team, who do you think you would just you could rely on for some good
oh yeah,
room
I
music?
have to say Owen Pickering.
Oh yeah.
He's got some good bangers. He's good with the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Everett now? Who do you like?
Yeah, I think Roost, Austin Roost,
Mhm.
he's got some good tunes always on the music. I know one of our Euro goalies plays some music while he works out. It's fun
Yeah.
to listen to like different cultures, so that's cool too. So yeah.
Yeah, that is cool. I'm sure I could list off some of these, but give us some of your nicknames. What are some that the
Mhm.
teams call you?
Yeah. I mean, before I got to Everett,
Mhm,
it's been like Pelts, Torres, like Rafi Torres.
mhm.
The guys have been calling me Donnie, kind of like a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, that's great.
Peloton was one of them. So
Nice,
yeah, but it's mostly just Pelts they call me.
nice.
So yeah,
Cool, cool, cool. What's your favorite hockey nickname? Is there one that you like the most, or kind of?
I don't mind Torres. Like
Yeah,
I could go with that. Yeah, I was called that when I was pretty young.
nice.
So it's
That's
funny
fun.
though. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So for Everett, right? Not the roster on Everett. If you were
Yeah.
stranded on a desert island, which teammate would you pick to help you survive?
Oh boy. Let me think here. Uh, I think I'd have to go with Matt Paskowicz.
Oh yeah. Why is that? What
Just,
did you do?
I think it would be just good company for me.
Yeah.
Just the friendship we have is it's just always laughing. So I think I'd take him.
That's really great. Who do you think would get you killed the quickest, though? On the flip side of that, who would get you killed?
Oh, I think him. That's the problem.
Oh, really?
We would have fun, but I don't think we would survive that long.
That's great. Love
Yeah.
that. And then this question, I know the answer to, but I'm still waiting for somebody to give me the other answer. Are you a cat or a dog person?
I'm a dog person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any pets at home?
My family, we have 2 cats, which is funny, but
Okay.
I've always wanted a dog. So
Yeah.
yeah. Here
What
at
kind
my
of dog
billet
would you
house,
get? Do you have like a favorite breed?
yeah, I think I'd get a Bernese Mountain Dog.
Ooh,
Those
nice.
are
Yeah.
like a bigger dog is pretty cool. So
Nice.
yeah.
And then I asked fans to send in questions when promoting the show. So
Yeah.
Tanner wants to know, what's your favorite part of playing for the Silvertips?
Oh, I feel like the fans here are amazing.
Mhm.
The amount of support we get at games is just unbelievable. I think we do have the best fans in the league, and it shows. So I feel like it's pretty cool to see. And obviously, like, Everett's a beautiful place. The scenery, it's really cool. It's really enjoyable. So yeah.
Yeah. Marcus asks, have you ever tried dekes or stick handling moves exactly done by players in the NHL?
Definitely. Yeah. A lot of video we use, especially in the summers.
Oh, sure.
I do some, like, it's called Power Edge Pro, kind of what like McDavid does. So working on little reps like that to transfer into your game will always help. So yeah, definitely.
Alex wants to know, what would be the coolest or funniest animal to scale up to the size of a horse?
Oh. I'm gonna say like squirrel, maybe.
Oh yeah, that'd be a little
I don't know.
scary.
Yeah. Never really thought of that, but yeah, maybe a
Yeah,
squirrel.
that's funny. My mom actually sent in this one. And I've asked, I think, every player since, so it's kind of a staple at this point. Would
Yeah.
you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
Oh, probably 100 duck-sized horses.
Yeah.
I feel like
What would be your tactic going in? I think you froze. Oh no.
Oh,
Did I lose Wi-Fi? There you go.
can you
There you
hear me?
are. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I think you froze there for a sec.
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
No, you're totally good. You're totally
Okay.
good. Ren wants to know, what's your favorite weird food combination?
Weird food combination. Actually, just recently, I don't know, I seen a little TikTok video.
Okay.
You put sour cream on your Oreos, and it's supposed to taste like a Oreo cheesecake.
Interesting.
I wouldn't say it's my
Tried it?
favorite, but it's kind of just, I don't
Yeah.
mind it. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Nice. That's interesting. Yeah. And then actually, I have 2 left for you. First is, what's a question that you have for teammate Jackson Berezowski? I'm going to interview him in a couple days as well. Same basic thing. And if you could ask him anything in the world, what would you ask?
Oh, jeez. What would I ask him? I'll ask him. Let me think here.
Yeah, you're good. Take your time. You're good.
Let's see. Oh boy, I don't even know. I'm trying to make this funny.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Let's see. Who is his favorite player on the team right now?
On the team right now? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Sounds
See what
great.
he says.
All right, we'll do. That's perfect. All right, here's the last question for you, then I'll let you go. What's the message that you have for Silvertips fans?
I think for the fans, it's just buckle up. Like, we're ready. We're gonna clinch here soon, and it's gonna be a fun time. We're we're ready, we're motivated, and we're ready to put on a show for them. So yeah, be ready.
Perfect. So welcome on, Jackson Berezowski. Really appreciate you coming on today. So right now we're going in with great news. The Silvertips finally clinching playoffs. Very excited about that. So talk to me about that. How are you feeling? How are the guys feeling? What are you guys doing going into the rest of the regular season?
Yeah, it's exciting. Obviously, anytime you can clinch a playoff spot before the end of the season, it's good. It's a little weight off your shoulders there, and I think just for myself speaking, some of the returners from last year, we got a little sour taste in our mouth from last year. So obviously, there's a lot to prove with this group here, and I don't think other teams are kind of ready for what we have up our sleeves, and we're going to put our best foot forward each and every night.
Absolutely love it. Now, looking at you specifically, recently hit that milestone that I'm sure everybody's talking to you about, but you're currently leading the Tips in goals and amongst the top, I think, 5 in the league with goals right now. So, talk to me a bit about that. How is just how do you think you got that goal scoring instinct? I guess.
Yeah, I think it kind of just comes through sticking to the process and what works for me. I guess
Yeah.
I like to score all my goals kind of the same, and that's within pretty close range to the net there. So, but you can't score goals without great teammates, and that's where it ultimately comes down to. I've been fortunate enough to play with a lot of great players throughout my years, and especially this year, it's no different. So, I think a lot of kudos goes to them in that regards for sure.
Yes, and it's a sign of a great leader talking about your success and giving credit to those who aren't to those who you play with. So that's really great. And being a leader on the ice, who are some other leaders that you bounce off of and that you see on the team?
For past year, I think leaders go towards. I like to lean towards Bryce Kindop and Connor Dewar. Those are two guys that I looked up to as a young guy coming into the league, but. It goes all the way. I don't think I've had one bad leader with us, especially just looking at the captains themselves. Those two stick out pretty good for me. And then the COVID year we were fortunate to have two, and that was in Cole Fonstad and Gianni Fairbrother there. And those guys were two different guys, and but they were both great leaders, and not just on the ice but off the ice. Obviously, they're both playing professional hockey right now, and that speaks for itself. But those guys. They can take guys under their wings pretty easy, and it's they're two different guys. One's a vocal guy, and one's more of a holding you accountable type of guy too.
Right.
So it's good when you have a little bit of both like that. And I think just for myself, being a leader last year with Seals there, that co-captainship there that we had, it was kind of a way to ease into this year with a solo role. So that's I was pretty fortunate to have that.
Absolutely, for sure. Earlier mentioned scoring goals and such and doing stuff that works for you. Describe your game. What works for you? What is your style?
I like to. I'm not the biggest guy out there, so I like to kind of use the size I got and just do what I can to get to that front of the paint there. And it's been working so far. I mean, I can't complain for that. So it's been a pretty fun year so far. So it's I hope it's not done yet, but I just got to keep doing with what's working.
Right. And unfortunately, it is your 20-year-old year in the WHL. So last season with the Silvertips in the league. What have you got going on? What do you got planned for after the season? What are you planning on doing after the season's over?
Yeah, my eyes they're set on pro hockey somewhere. Where that is, I'm not quite sure yet, but hopefully time will tell, and just being patient with whatever comes my way.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Now, when you were looking at you when you were growing up, right, what actually got you into the sport? When did you start playing?
My parents. My parents got me in at a young age, and I think it's kind of the typical the little guy growing up in Canada. Everyone seems to be skating before they're walking, almost is what everyone likes to say. But it's true. Once you learn to walk, the next step for me was skating. So I was pretty fortunate to have two supportive parents that put me in right off the bat, and with no looking back ever since. So
nice. Did you ever try any other positions, or was it always forward?
I actually started out as a defenseman. Yeah. So I was a defenseman till it was my Adam year. So I think that's U10 now. And after that, I switched to forward and haven't looked back.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have any favorite NHL teams growing up, or?
I was an Oiler fan. Still am. Love to watch the Oilers. Obviously, they got a good thing going with those couple of star players there. So they're always a fun team to watch.
Yeah, and NHL idols or anybody you look up to, it doesn't have to be the Oilers even, but just anybody maybe you style your play after or anything.
A couple guys obviously speak. I think a guy I can style might play after is Brendan Gallagher on the
Nice.
Canadians. There's not the biggest guy, but he goes to the hard areas and gets the job done in different roles like that. But obviously, all the guys, any player you ask, loves watching guys like the McDavid and the Matthews. And if you can pull anything out of their games at all, I think you're doing something right.
Oh, for sure. Now, looking at the Tips roster, right, and your team that you're with now, who do you think is an underrated teammate that fans should keep an eye on as he's going through his career?
I think we got a couple, but one that comes to mind that maybe doesn't get as much attention as the rest is Kane Zaplitny.
Yeah.
He's a hardworking guy, and he's got the tools to go far. So he's a pretty relentless guy, and he's had a pretty good year so far, and sky's only the limit for him. So.
Absolutely. And now, of course, because it's kind of related, kind of bouncing off the last one, being with the Tips your whole career, thankfully, not having, unless the other guys get traded away and then you have to play against them. But on your current roster, if any of that made sense, who would you least want to play against?
On the current roster, I don't know. Maybe the two guys, Rooster and Hemmerling there. They're pretty dynamic, and especially if they're playing together, they'd be a tough duo to kind of match and keep up to.
Yeah, and what team in the WHL and of course your whole career that you've played, who do you think is the most fun to play against? Which team?
Fun to play. I like playing against Seattle. I mean, they've always it's that rivalry that's been kind of installed since the beginning of the franchise, and it's been good ever since. So every year I've played and every game I've played against them, it's always been a fun one. So
yeah, that's great for sure. The fans definitely there and on another level. Now for a rink, I've gotten some interesting answers for this one, but which team do you think has the best away rink that you like to play in?
Away rink? Well, I mean, it's got to be the Rogers in Edmonton, but I've only been to that one once. So besides that, I like the Moda Center. I've played in a couple times. That's been fun in Portland, but on a regular basis, I think I like playing in Spokane. It's been pretty fun.
Yeah. Now looking at yourself for your game day, do you have any superstitions or rituals that you got to follow?
I wouldn't say superstitions really, but it's mostly just been so far just routines, I guess you can call them. I like to stick to the same stuff, and especially if something works one day, I like to do the same thing try and do it on the next day and so forth like that.
Yeah. Earlier you mentioned last season being with Seeley there as the co-captain, right, and going into this season as the sole person in that role. What advice would you give your last season self?
Just be patient and stick to it. Obviously, I think it's been a time where obviously everything happens for a reason, and I truly believe that. So with everything getting, maybe so you could say, getting passed over in drafts and stuff like that, it's only led me to this point where I think I've grown as a person and as a player. So down the road, you don't know when it's going to come, but you'll come, and you got to make the most of that opportunity.
Absolutely. Now, of course, with the whole career and everything, I bet you got a bunch to pick from. But what would you say is your best or your favorite hockey memory?
Ooh, I don't know. I've had the benefit of winning a lot of championships back in minor hockey in Yorkton, so that's always fun. But I don't think nothing really compares to scoring the first goal in my first year. I think it was the third game in against Portland.
Yeah,
it was at home, so it was pretty fun, and that memory obviously sticks with you for a while.
Gotcha. Now moving on to some more, I guess, fun questions that aren't necessarily strictly hockey. I've interviewed two Tips before this, Sutter and Pelletier, and so they actually gave me answers that I'm pretty sure you'll have the same answer. But who on the team do you think has the best locker room music?
Locker room music? I don't know. I like to toot my own horn on that one, but we kind of only listen to Roosters music there, so I got to go with them.
Gotcha. Awesome. And then when you have the aux cord per se, what do you play? What's your go-to?
Pretty strictly country music. Yeah, it's kind of where I've grown up with that stuff, so I like to keep it close to home. Yeah.
Who's your favorite artist?
Right now, probably Morgan Wallen.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Nice. And then we know main nickname is Bear. Do you have any other nicknames on the team?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, Bear, Berezowski. Yeah, that's been a go-to since as long as I can remember.
Gotcha. Okay. Nothing too crazy.
No.
if you weren't playing hockey, right? If you never actually got into the sport, what do you think you would be doing? What would you want to do?
I don't know. I think the typical answer is everyone likes to say they want to golf and stuff like that. And as
Yeah.
much as I love golf, I don't know if I'd succeed in it. But who knows if I put a lot of time into it, you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a sport where it's a fun one to do in the summer, obviously with your buddies and stuff like that. But it
Yeah, for sure.
takes a toll on your mental game too. So I don't know if I could
Yeah.
handle it. But yeah, I got to go with golf. See what happens with it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I've gotten definitely golf, bunch of answers. Any other sports in there? Some players have said business, just like starting their own business and such. So yeah, it's interesting. And speaking of other sports, did you play any other sports growing up, or was it just
Kind of all the school sports, like the basketball, the volleyball. I went to the SAS summer games with basketball, so that was fun.
Mhm.
And when I was younger, and then
Nice.
always, yeah, it's been just pretty much through school and stuff like that. I played soccer when I was a little guy, but other than that, nope. It's been pretty much hockey. So
Yeah. And then I'm sure I know the answer to this one. Still waiting for someone to surprise me. But are you a cat or a dog person?
I'm a dog person, but it's weird because I've never had one. So
Oh,
I've
gotcha.
only
Yeah.
had dogs at my billet's house. So, but I have a cat at home, and I'm not a fan of it. So
Really?
yeah,
That's
two
fun.
of them. Yeah, they just sit there. So I don't know why. I don't know why we have them, but they're there.
That's funny. Okay, so this one's a fun question. If you were stranded on a desert island, which teammate would you pick to help you survive?
So God, to survive, I don't
Yeah.
know. I want to pick Sutsi, but I don't
Okay.
know if I could handle him for as long as we'd be there. So, but yeah, at least he'd make me laugh and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'd make the time pass. So yeah, I'd have to go with him.
Now, on the flip side of that, who do you think would get you killed the quickest?
Andrew Petrick, probably by far. I don't know if he's
Yeah.
got the tools to last there. So
I mean, his favorite Christmas gift that he got was a crowbar, I think he said.
yeah,
Like,
that's
I don't know, maybe
probably
he could
that
put
answer
something
speaks for
together with it.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, now, what's your coffee order? Are you a coffee guy?
Yeah, usually, well, I'll go with my Tim's order is just a regular coffee, 1-in-1, and if I have to go to the States, it's the cold brews here. That's kind of just vanilla sweet cream cold brew. Yeah, nothing too spontaneous, but
Right. Do you prefer? I'm assuming preferring Tim's over Starbucks.
for coffee itself, probably Starbucks is
Yeah.
better, but I mean, you can't go wrong with how cheap Tim's coffee
Yeah,
is, so
I
I
was
got to
gonna.
go with that. Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
you
bring that
get
up for
three for
sure.
the price of one. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, would you? Okay, so this next question, my mom actually provided toward the beginning of the show, and so I've been asking every player it since. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
Oh God, I think I'd probably go with the 100.
Yeah.
See if I can take them on. Hopefully they don't all come at once, but
What would your tactic be going into there?
I'd see if I can knock them off as quick as I can. But yeah, it's going to be pretty challenging both
Yeah.
ways.
Now, Raph was on on the same episode as you actually, and he his was first, so he had a question for you. I asked him to ask you any question in the world, and his question that he came up with was, "Who is your favorite player on the Silvertips roster?"
Oh, it's a tough one. He's put me on the spot. I'll go with two. I'll go with my two fellow 20-year-olds. Yeah,
Sounds good.
easy, quiet. Yeah, Satsi and Pelts.
Nice, awesome. Going into fan questions, I ask fans every episode to send in questions, and these are the ones that I get for this one. And so Tanner wants to know, what's your favorite part of playing for the Silvertips?
I think the fan base playing at home, nothing beats that. So they're great and they show up every day. So
Absolutely. Now, Marcus wants to know, have you ever tried dekes or stick handling moves done exactly by players in the NHL?
I think everyone kind of in
Yeah.
practice or games you kind of try and emulate it. Maybe it doesn't always get brought out in a game or stuff like that, but you're always messing around in practice, trying new things. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this one I can totally. If you don't know if you can't think of one on this, I'm putting you on the spot like Raph did. I've asked this a couple times, and some players haven't been able to answer, so no pressure. What is the funniest joke you know by heart?
Yeah. Oh God, that is a good one. I don't know. I'm not a big joke. That's a question for Satsi. Hopefully he had a couple
Yeah.
answers, but yeah, I don't know. I'm
I
not a
think
big joke or riddle guy, so
Yeah, that's totally fair. I think his answer was oh no, I honestly don't remember if I asked him that one. Yeah, if he did, he gave me one, so that's good. Tracy
Yeah.
wants to know what's your favorite pizza?
Pizza, just anything with meat, pepperoni or meat lovers. Yeah, pretty basic, but
Nice. Ren wants to know what's your favorite weird food combination?
I don't know if I have any weird. I'm
Yeah.
pretty basic. Maybe I'll give something that might be weird. I'm not a cheese guy. I don't like cheese, but it's weird because I just answered a pizza
Yeah,
question
pizza.
there. It's a sensitive subject, and my family doesn't. They always chirp me for it, but
That's
I don't know.
funny.
It must be a texture thing or something.
Yeah, no, I get it. And then Hallie asks, pick the 2 best players from your favorite team, so the Oilers, or you could pick another team if you'd like. Now you have to trade one and keep the other. Who and why?
Okay, well, I'll just stick with the Oilers.
That's
I'll go with McDavid and Draisaitl. I think.
Yeah,
I mean, as much as you'd never want to trade Draisaitl, I
right.
don't think you can trade McDavid. So, I mean, you get a pretty good price back for Draisaitl anyway. So it'll be a good trade no matter which one you make. But
Yeah,
probably keep McDavid and trade Draisaitl. Yeah.
totally. If you did trade him, where would like if you had the power over that, where would you send him? Where would you want to where would you
Oh
like to see
God,
him play?
I don't know. Probably somewhere that he'd get a cut.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
obviously teams like Colorado, Tampa, those guys, but they got their superstars too. It's hard that every team's got some guys that could always use a little better, but I mean they all got firepower too. So
Absolutely. Perfect. Now, last but not least for you, what is a message that you have for Silvertips fans?
just can't wait to get going in playoff time here. It's gonna be fun and electric, and can't wait to see everyone show up for all the games. It's gonna be fun.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the WHL show this week. I really appreciate it. If you want more content, more WHL content, feel free to follow me on Twitter. My username is always on the screen there. And make sure you message me, talk to me about what we discussed this week. Talk to me about who you would like to see on the show. Give me any feedback, any information. I would love to hear it. Questions, comments, concerns, all that fun stuff. I am always active over there, so feel free to check that out. Next week, we'll be back, of course, 7 p.m. PST on WSBN. Woo. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.